Well, good afternoon, everybody. We are here today because a menace to our society was sentenced to prison due to the tireless work of those individuals that are standing behind me today. But the credit for putting this thug, Tiwan Bailey, in prison is really due to the courage of individuals that were able to come forward and tell their difficult story. And unfortunately, the impacts of what he did to each of those victims, and those are just the victims that we know of, will last with them for the rest of their lives. But we hope today that they know, because of the hard work and support of each and every one of the people behind me and all of their teams, that this individual will be out of our community for many, many years to come. Tiwan Bailey is and was a menace to our society and to this community. If you go to any corner in any law enforcement, or frankly to any of his neighbors that live around him, they could probably tell you the stories, and negative ones, of how he impacted their lives. And that's our job in this office, to ensure that our communities are safe. And I can tell you today definitively that our community right here at home is much safer because Tiwan Bailey is no longer a part of it. The victims of the case before you today that was sentencing, again, is probably only a few of the ones that he impacted throughout his reign of terror. But again, we hope that those out there that were impacted by Mr. Bailey will hear this news today and perhaps be a little more comfortable knowing that he is no longer around. Human trafficking is often talked about, but I don't think that we have a good grasp of really what it is. In my opinion, it's one of the most depraved and heinous acts that any person can participate in. And sometimes we see it on the national news, but we don't think about it here at home in West Virginia. But it was happening right under our noses. And again, we had brave victims that were able to come forward and share their stories. What's another headline that we hear that's troubling our community? It's drugs. And drugs were a big part of this story. Mr. Bailey used drugs, addiction of these young women, and in one case, a minor girl, used that addiction to force them to have sex with people that he would then profit from. I just want to let that sink in. Imagine something worse for the young people in the future of this state than somebody that is willing to do something like that. And he intimidated individuals, countless individuals. And the reason that he is just coming to justice today after decades of terrorism in our communities is because too many people were afraid to talk about it. So I want to emphasize again how proud I am of the courageous victims that came forward to ensure, again, that those that were silent, not of faults of their own, but can have some solace in the outcome today. To add to that, Mr. Bailey fled from this community. He was on the run. And our law enforcement officers pursued him day in and day out. And I want to commend the Marshal Services for apprehending him in the state of Kentucky and bringing him back here so he could be brought to justice. I want to thank the Kanawha County Sheriff who is here. I'm telling you, they probably have many stories about Mr. Bailey. I want to commend Chief Dempsey for being here with the Charleston Police Department, who participated in the investigation. But I particularly and especially want to thank the folks from Homeland Security that were literally up day and night finding the evidence required to prove this individual's guilt. You know, it's not often in this office that we see a trial. But Mr. Bailey was so brazen and confident, probably because nobody ever stood up to him, that he thought he could win in trial. Well, I've got two attorneys up here, Jennifer Harold and Jennifer Gordon, who went right at him. And guess what? He lost, and they won. So I want to congratulate them and the many hours that they put in to ensuring that this happened today. You know, we come up here for these press conferences and sometimes celebrate wins. But I think it's a solemn day, to be clear. This office requested the court to institute life imprisonment. That wasn't far-fetched. In fact, the sentencing committee, under the guidelines, actually recommended a life sentence. It's unfortunate that the judge departed from that downward, but nevertheless, our community today should feel safe for many, many years to come, and we're all appreciative of that. But again, the most important thing, and if anything that I can convey to you today that you would remember, is how hard our law enforcement partners worked and how hard our attorneys worked to ensure that the outcome came out the way that it did. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions from anybody.
What was the actual sentence? 25?
25 years, yes, sir, and 5 years supervised supervision. Other questions?
I believe there was another defendant also sentenced today. What was her sentence?
Carrie Roy was sentenced today. She was actually a co-conspirator of Mr. Bailey, and she was sentenced to 10 years.
Where in Kentucky was Mr. Bailey found?
Defer to Jenny. You want to take that one?
Lexington.
Lexington, generally. Yeah. I didn't know if she was looking for a street address there.
And how many victims have come forward?
We had Jenny. You want to take the specifics on that?
Sure. There were 4 identified victims in the case. We have spoken with other individuals who have come forward with information, but they were not charged in the case for various reasons. So we have every reason to believe that those are 4 out of many more.
Is there any, should those other victims still come forward? Would that be helpful at all to you all if other victims still come forward?
Anytime a victim feels comfortable coming forward, we always want to hear from victims because there's always bigger pictures. So we would encourage anyone to come forward with any additional information. Simply because he's been charged now, we still always are looking for information.
Other questions?
I'm going to shift gears.
Sure, Bob. Go.
Here. Obviously, this is a priority for your administration. Where does the prosecution or the pursuit of immigration cases fall in the spectrum for the office now? And both in Kentucky and West Virginia, their legislatures are considering bills that would mandate local law enforcement's cooperation. Do you all need something like that, or are you getting it already?
Well, what I would tell you is, and I probably should defer to our law enforcement partners in the room today, but we have the most committed cooperative law enforcement partners that you will find. We have folks, our state and local law enforcement officials are committed to cooperating with their federal partners to make sure that a very basic thing is done. Those people that break the law should be responsible and accountable for breaking the law. And I can't opine on what there was a time when I could, but I will leave the legislature's work to the legislature.
All right. In this situation, the several judges in this circuit in the civil proceedings involving immigrants have ordered their release from custody. I gather you oppose that and are appealing that, or where are we with that?
Well, you know, we have challenged those rulings. Those rulings have come in the form of habeas petitions, and we've taken the position not unlike those other districts across the country. And our interpretation, of course, differs from that of what the judges, as you noted, with clarity in this district, have taken. But as we're starting to see across the country, this is sort of a new, I think, burgeoning issue that we'll probably start to see resolution come down from the circuits, and wouldn't be surprised if it goes higher for some ultimate resolution here soon.
There was a Fifth Circuit ruling related to these cases this weekend.
Yep.
How does the Fifth Circuit control us? How does that work? Would that have any impact on the cases here?
It could have an impact. It's not controlling or binding necessarily on the federal courts here, but with so little resolution at the circuit level on the issue, particularly as it relates to distinguishing between 1225 and 1226, we don't have much authority from, again, above the district level. We view it as certainly helpful and a huge victory, and one that I hope that our district court judges upstairs will take a close look at.
And back on today's topic, I just wanted to clarify, it sounded like you said Bailey was using the women who were addicted to drugs. Was he, I guess, selling them to his clients? He was also selling drugs to? Like, you said he was profiting off the men that they were having sex with.
So essentially, he had women that he would recruit, for lack of a better term. He knew that these were already vulnerable women, and in one case, as I said, a minor individual. He would have these women go online and create a profile and solicit customers and pimp them out. I hate to even use that term because he actually considered him a pimp, and I don't want to give him a name that he might even like. I think he's more of a thug. But and he would arrange, as they called it, a play. Am I right here? For them to set up a meeting with an individual at a hotel room. The female victims would receive payment. They would remit that payment to Mr. Bailey. They lived with him, and in exchange for that, he would feed their addiction and provide them drugs in exchange.
Is there a difference between trafficking and pimping, or is it the same thing?
There's certainly a technical distinction on that, and under sort of we sort of think of human trafficking, and I can let Jenny is a pro here, and I can let her give you the technical distinction, but I'll give it to you so our elementary school students can understand here. There's human trafficking, then labor trafficking, and sex trafficking. The particular crime here was sex trafficking, which was selling individuals for sex, as opposed to labor. Yeah.
Are there any other people you're investigating who are connected to this crime, maybe the men who were paying for sex or anything?
I don't think we're going to comment on any ongoing investigations at this point related to this. So,
Was Bailey from the area or from somewhere else and moved here?
originally from Rand. He fancied himself the king of Rand.
And he lived in Rand at the time these incidents occurred.
Correct, in a trailer with these individuals as they rotated through, including Mrs. Roy, excuse me.
You mentioned you've been doing several crimes for a very long time, it sounds like. How long had this specific crime been going on?
This case involved victims between the fall of 2023 and mid 2024.
Is there an age range? Like youngest, without saying the name or anything, to the oldest? Or?
One was a juvenile, right?
Yeah, one was 17, the other's from early 20s.
Yeah. I refer to them as kids, quite frankly, but in a technical sense, 17 into mid 20s. Any other questions? Well, again, I want to thank you all again for being here today. I want to thank the victims for their courage. I want to thank our attorneys for their really hard work. This is a huge case for them, and almost a once in a lifetime when you can get something this big. And of course, our law enforcement for what you all do every single day. Thank you so much, and we will continue to do that. Thank you very much.